Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.
You're everything I want. You're everything that I need. And I'd do anything to get.
I'm Robert Cavuto from My Global Mind, and today we're speaking with John Waite for the release of his new EP called Anything that came out May 6th, and a new CD coming out this summer called Singles. John, welcome. It's a pleasure to speak with you, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Literally.
You know, I only heard the one song, Anything. It sounds very personal. Was it written about anybody in particular?
Well, they're all written about people I know. You know, everything I've ever written was about what was in front of me. I've never really visualized stuff and put myself in that position. Yeah, it's a very pure song. I've had it on the back burner for about 2 years, and I wanted to put something out that was positive. Everybody seems to be, you know, at each other's throats worldwide, in the street, in every city you go to. And I don't think it's the majority. I think it's like just a wild, small percentage of us, you know.
Yeah.
But it's trouble, and I just wanted to put something out there that would be for the summer and maybe illuminate somebody's life, you know.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. Really beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You know, like I said, I only heard the one song, and I was wondering what's the rest of the vibe of the rest of the EP.
Well, the song that follows that is called Lifeguard, and that's really again, it's the same sort of thing. It's like just laying by the pool and the world is going by and it's a beautiful day and you're with somebody that you really dig, and it's really simple. It's a summer song. Again, I think these first two songs on the EP are very much for the summer.
Yeah.
And not about any kind of darkness. I mean, I made a conscious effort to really do something that was going to be uplifting. The third song, Grenadine, was cut after those other two songs late at night in the studio. One of those things where you have a glass of wine and you're just writing, just messing about. And we got a song, and it's like almost like a slow blues song live in the studio. And then following that is Darling, which is a song I dug out of some tapes that I found. I like the chord changes, so I went back into the studio and cut the chord changes, rewrote the lyric, and then for some reason spent the next 3 weeks trying to tinker with it. I brought in different guitar players and played bass, and at the end of the day, the engineer played guitar, the acoustic guitar in it. I was looking for a certain feel, but that's kind of complex song. It's a story song about Paris. And yeah, and then if you download the 4 songs, the Anything EP, you get a 5th song, Masters of War, which is Dylan's song. Again, I felt compelled with the news of the world to reference that, to have people at least look at the lyric again. I heard that song when I was 14, and it moved me very deeply. It was very articulate.
Yeah.
Reply to the state of affairs with nuclear war and armies and destruction and genocide and people who make guns for a living, you know. What a great line that is. People who make guns for a living. I mean, you just think of things like that, but it's something I'm quite proud of. I think I delivered on it. It's a cool song, but it's a dark song.
Yeah, it's like the Cold War all over again from when we were young guys.
It's gonna be. I think, you know, I've been talking politics all week, so I want to get off the soapbox. I do, but it's kind of like, it's just like, what's the point? You know, aren't we further down the road? Don't we understand each other more than that? Are we that scared of each other? Are you that brutal? Are you that heartless? Is that what you do? Make guns for a living? You know, I mean, it's like, fuck you, you know.
Terrible. I don't disagree with you. I agree with your sentiment. Exactly. I do.
Yeah.
I do. You know, the one thing that impressed me the most about the one song I heard was your voice. It's as crisp and has the same clarity it did from I Ain't Missing You back in the day. What's your secret?
Well, I roll my own cigarettes, and I only smoke organic tobacco, and I only smoke like 4 cigs a day. Apart from that, I don't warm up. I think it's just supremely confident. At this point in my life, I know exactly what I'm doing. And so far, it's never let me down. You know, we did a gig the other day in Kansas City. I had an operation on my eyes, and I was wearing dark glasses. And after the second operation in 4 days, I got on a plane and flew to Kansas City, and I was really shaky. You know, I didn't know if I could get through the gig, and I get telling the band, look, if we get up there and I lose it, you know, just play a guitar solo, put a drum solo, do anything to cover. I was that sure that it was 50-50 getting through the set. Yeah. And we hit the first song and it was all there. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those foolish things to count on it, because the moment you count on something like that, it doesn't show up.
Right, right.
The voice is a very feminine thing. If you treat it badly, it ignores you. And then it'll move out and walk away, and you'll never see it again. So I respect it in as much as that I try and sleep as much as I can on the road, and, you know, a glass of wine not on the road, maybe the last day after the last show or something. But everything is the whole reason for going out there and getting on that plane and going through security and all that kind of stuff is the show. And people bought tickets and they expect something phenomenal.
Right.
And or if it means me just being careful and not beating myself up or drinking lots of water, that's my part of the deal. You know,
that's great. You sound fantastic. You also have a CD coming out this summer called Singles. I don't really know too much about it. Tell me about that.
Well, there's already a greatest hits out called Best, and that's been out for like 4 or 5 years, and it's got everything on it. Isn't It Time? And a duet with Alison Krauss on Missing You. There's a lot of stuff on it that's really great, but it needs updating. And so I was trying to think of a way I could put something new out with those songs, plus, you know, anything on it. And some of the songs that have come out in the interim period that have done very well. So I just rejigged it, really. It was a case of like, let's put something out. And I reviewed what was out there. So it's got a lot of tracks on it, and some bonus tracks and stuff. It's good. I mean, we're just finishing the artwork now, so it'll be out. I think it'll be out by the time we hit the summer.
Oh, that's great. That is fantastic. You know, talking about some of the songs and your personality of writing songs are written in different ways for different purposes based upon your frame of mind. Do you find yourself creating something adequate one day and then suddenly something very special the next?
Yeah. I don't record anything that I don't think is great. I think in my life, there might be 2 bad English songs that I just would, you know, like to see never existed. And maybe 2 Babies songs. But in my solo career, it's solo. So I'm not wanting to compromise to make the whole thing work.
Yeah. So
everything I put out, I really mean it. There are some songs that are just magical, but to me, they wouldn't be magical unless they were next door to another song that's maybe in another direction.
Yeah.
When you put an album together, it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle, and you don't really know what you've got till you see the last piece goes in, and you go like, "Oh, that's what I meant." And I could take the same 10 songs and record them next year, and they'd sound differently. It's all about growing up and being articulate in what happens to you and how you see it, you know?
Yeah. What was the reason for just doing the EP versus a full album of a new material?
Well, I had those songs and I knew they were going to work. And I'd put out a 3 CD acoustic record last year called Wooden Heart. And there was a couple of new songs on that. There was Dylan's Not Dark Yet. So I'd gone out there. I really had. I'd really put out some stuff that I really believed in. But I find these days with the internet, you put out 12 songs and it's gone. It's gone in a week. Your hardcore fan base loves it. You might get a song in a TV show. You might go #1 on radio, and then the world moves on. And it's kind of like, you know, hey, come back. I haven't finished. This is good. Listen to this again.
Yeah.
But the world has changed, and the way people experience music has changed. So I firmly believe in doing 4 or 5 songs and hitting people like punch and jab, but, you know, duck and dive. And,
Smart.
you know, that it works. And the pressure of those extra 5 songs, which for any band is always the problem. You know, the Babies, you know, you get the first 5 songs down and you think, this is great. And then somebody would say, yes, but we need another 5. And then you kind of go to the pub, you know, it's like, oh, really? And so yeah, I think putting out 4 or 5 songs at a time is the way to go. I think I'm very happy doing that.
Good. Sounds like a smart perspective and strategy. I like it.
Yeah, well, I think it's a two-way street. I think people get the music more and they're not overwhelmed, and they kind of 5 songs, man, it's a lot. You know, it's each song's about 4 minutes. So it's, you know, it's like if I go back and listen to Hendrix or Bob Dylan, I might only play 5 songs in the car, and then I want to play some classical, or I want to do this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think at 5 songs, 25 minutes to half an hour, that's a lot for people.
Yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great idea. You know, we spoke many years ago, and you talked to me about "I Ain't Missing You" that was written in a taxi cab, I believe. Was there any song that came to you off of these EP that came to you like a gift from above?
Well, yeah, Grenadine.
Yeah,
it seems to be a very personal song to a lot of people, and it was a complete mistake. Me and Anthony Kryzan, my collaborator on this, was we were just finished. We'd done like I said, Anything and Lifeguard, and we just sat there in his studio, Boom Studios in New Jersey, and
wow.
I was playing the bass and he's playing the guitar, and it was like, I noticed the other day I was playing it in the dressing room, and it's got the same chord changes as Isn't It Time. It's like G, B, F, C, and that's Isn't It Time. So I guess there's only so many bullets in the gun, but it's a beautiful song, and it's the fact that it's called Grenadine, the color of grenadine on your lips, the color of grenadine I seem to miss so much. It's like, it's lipstick, you know.
Yeah. And
you don't just say it's lipstick, you know. It's the color of wine too, so it can be a lot of. It's a very late night song, but that came out of nowhere. A lot of good songs do.
It sounds awesome. You know, I that sounds really good. Where in New Jersey? I'm in New Jersey too. Oh,
Bowling Green. What's this town next to it? Plainfield. No, Plainfield.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I could throw a rock and hit Plainfield from where I live. That's funny.
Well, be careful you don't hit somebody that I know. Boom Studios. I mean, Anthony is like a master guitar player. I mean, he really is brilliant. And I've known him for 25 years. We get together every blue moon and write something really great. You know, we probably write all the time if I lived on the East Coast, you know. Yeah,
you got to come out more often. That's pretty cool. Yeah. You know, how would you describe yourself as a lyricist? You've always written some amazing songs.
Well, thank you. I don't know. If I'm reading a book and I hit a sentence, I can see it as poetry or as that's good, you know, that's clever, that says something that means 2 different things at once, without not meaning one truthfully. That it's like it's deeply personal, really. But the less thing is more. Sometimes you hear people overdo it. I always try to be economic, but even saying that, I don't know. I write things down and never use them. And then when I'm just winging it on the mic, they'll come out the back of my head.
Yeah.
I don't really have, you know, I've got notebooks all over the house and like pens, and I've got things pinned on the wall. I got this beautiful thing here. Hey, dig this. I read this in a book. Mark Twain, right? Yep. It said, it's not the size of the dog in the fight. it's the size of the fight in the dog. And
Yeah.
I read that and I thought, well, that's brilliant, you know, and I wrote it down and stuck it on the wall. But I read a lot, and I really have gigantic respect for writers. I mean, I actually started to write short stories this year, and it's something I'm very interested in. It just flowed. It just flowed, you know, it wasn't forced. And at the end, it had this payoff. I obviously have this sort of further thing to do with my life, and it might not be music, it might be writing short stories, you know.
Yeah, that's great. That is fantastic. Are you always the type of guy that always has ideas floating around in his head? Is everything just constantly swirling around and you just got to pull it out?
Yeah.
Incredible.
I mean, there isn't any relief from it. Even when I dream every night.
Yeah.
I just said we came back from the road and I was beaten. I slept 18 hours and had 3 separate dreams that were so vivid. You know, my hometown comes into it a lot, or New York City, but my mind is always kind of working. I mean, I could be walking down the street and I'm rereading Moby Dick at the moment, and I'll be thinking about Ishmael, or I'll be thinking about something that's been put out there, because that book is loaded from every angle. It means it's biblical. I mean, it's just incredibly intense, and there's nothing snotty about it or intellectual. It's just a profound, well-written essay on life and what we are and why we do what we do and pursue what we do, and blame, hatred, just, you know, injury. It's a tremendous book, and it's so beautiful. So you're walking down the street and it's like, oh, you're thinking about, you know, Starbuck. You're thinking about Ishmael. You're thinking about the crew, you know, and it's like, and some of the things that are said and exchanged. And then you see a deeper meaning in it, you know, because it's obviously come back to question you, you know.
Yeah.
But I get that reading the paper. Yeah, the newspaper. You sometimes read something and laugh out loud. I got, like, apart from that, I got like Hunter S. Thompson's Hell's Angels, you know, another funny, great, articulate reading piece, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. You know, you talked about the tour. You got a tour coming up May 27th. Tell me a little bit about that. How'd that
well, I don't know which tour you mean, because they've got me going out. I'm going to Reno tomorrow to play in a casino, 2 shows. Then I come back. Then we got like 5 days off. Then we go out again.
Right.
And then somewhere in the middle of it all, I go on the road with Rick Springfield and Men at Work.
Yes.
For the whole of the summer. You know, it's like, really? You know, but I just did a gig at the Indy 500 last week with the Kings of Chaos, which was Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses and Gilby Clarke and guest singers, and I was one of them. You know, I mean, I seem to have changed gears, and there's a documentary coming out at the end of the year, full scale, you know, a big budget documentary, and that's coming, called The Hard Way, and it's a very truthful look at my life, and no holds barred, two-fisted documentary. So I didn't expect to see this coming, but since coming out of COVID, everything has sped up, and I have to put my skates on and just get into it and go. You know? Yeah,
it's good that you're keeping busy. That's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, well, after a year and a half of staring at the wall and not do, you know, drinking gallons of red wine and thinking I'll do it tomorrow, you know, you think, well, it's time to go back to work, you know. Yeah. But we did start work last July. We were doing like some corporate stuff, private gigs, and then bit by bit we started honoring the dates that we had to put aside because of COVID.
Yeah.
And so we'd be out for 3 weeks, you know, 1 minute just sitting there on the couch going like, oh no, you know, it's Groundhog Day, you know. Yeah. It's just another day like it was yesterday. And then the next thing, you're a week into a tour and you're sitting in a first class seat, thank God, reading a book at 60,000 feet, and you think, how did I get here? But it's my life, you know. It's my life. It's what I do.
No, that's fantastic. Do you think there's a resurgence among people nowadays with music from the 80s? Because I think it seems to be coming back in full force.
Well, I think there's a lot of melody in the 80s.
Yes, I agree.
I think there was Springsteen, and there was U2, and there was Tracy Chapman, and there was, you know, all this stuff that happened in the 80s. It was the time when R&B melded with rock. Rap started to evolve into the mainstream, which was going to change music drastically with the Beastie Boys and stuff in the years to come. But I wasn't really looking around me. I never really look at the competition because I don't have any. I just don't. I mean, I do what I do, and I'm not really interested in what's selling or not selling. It doesn't interest me. It just doesn't. My head's in a different place. I will say, I think the 70s were more important, and the babies were raging in the 70s. And Isn't It Time and Back on My Feet Again, Midnight Rendezvous, Every Time I Think of You, Head First, all those songs, that was the 70s.
Yeah.
And then people look at me after all of that, and because of Missing You, they say, oh, yep, these are the 80s. And I pushed a lot of it away. I just went my own direction.
Yeah.
And but the 90s were when I came back full force. I made a record called Temple Bar after Bad English, and that was a big record. That was like something I'd been waiting all my life to make, and didn't have the ability to do it. And my age and my experience and my certainty was so on that I made that record. And it's like 25 years ago, but it's the best record I ever made.
Wow.
And yeah, but so I can't go with it. I mean, I know what you're saying. Somebody, I did an interview yesterday about that, and they're saying the 80s, man, it's coming back. Oh yeah, this is great. I don't know. Maybe it is, but I don't compartmentalize music. I could be listening to Eric Satie one minute, Jimi Hendrix the next, and you know, Ice-T. You know, I just don't care. I just listen to what moves me. You know,
I'm all about melody, so I love anything with a great hook. That's what's important to me. Good rhythm,
well, you know,
and a good rhythm.
No, I agree. That's really, you know, and the people were going for the throat in the 80s. It was when big business started to really kick in.
Yeah.
So you had to be on your game.
Yeah. Do you still enjoy when people come up to you and tell you how important, you know, missing you was?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very touched. I always spend time with people when they come up and say hello. I don't go like, yeah, man. And, you know, yeah, I really do. I look them in the eyes and I talk to them. And we do a meet and greet at the shows. And I don't wheel people through. I talk to them for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really wonderful about that. It's just that I'm very honored. I'm flattered. And I can see in their eyes that it means so much to them.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be having that conversation with them today if they hadn't bought the record. I might be working in a newspaper shop, or in a pet shop, or, you know, in the road somewhere. I mean, I might be doing, I owe the public everything I am. And if somebody comes up to me and says, John, I got to tell you, this album, and it isn't just Missing You. There's all these other songs, you know, it's like, and it means that in somewhere in my day, I'd written something and somebody understood it.
Yep.
And even if for one time in your life somebody says they understand you, that's a massive thing.
Yeah. That's
not just saying it for the sake of it, but you can tell when people tell you that something's moved them. So I'm deeply, I'm honored. I really am.
Yeah. You know, that's like a time traveling experience. Every time it comes on the radio, I am instantly teleported back to college and the girl I was seeing in college and going through what we were going through at the time. The smell, everything, it comes all back instantly. It's absolutely incredible. And
well, I get the same thing with other songs. You know, I mean, I when I hear somebody's song that was really some of the songs by Free, the old British band, you know, or Hendrix, or, you know, just, and even more contemporary things. Tracy Chapman, Fast Car. I mean, songs that are just really became part of your life, you know, they really did.
Yeah, it was a soundtrack to our lives, you know, that song.
Really, truly is.
It's very impressive. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. I wish you the success with the EP, and I'm looking forward to getting it and hearing it in the CD singles when it comes out. So I will definitely looking forward to it. Well,
it's very early for me, and this is my 4th cup of coffee. But I enjoyed talking to you. It was.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking. Is that a Boy Howdy mug?
It is. But Tim Hogan, my
Cream.
bass player. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Is that retro or is that like new?
No, it's my bass player Tim sent me it. But on the back, it's got like a more modern logo, which pisses me off because I'd rather be looking at a Robert Crumb cartoon when I'm drinking than you looking at it and me not getting the picture. Unless, of course, I was left-handed.
Yes, you should hold the lefty, right?
Then I would be looking at Boy Howdy. But yeah, Tim sent me it for a gift. We drink a lot of coffee on the road.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure. Very insightful to speak with you today. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Heavy metal rock.
Global Mind.